My presentation is about the theory of self and how we determine that. What am I, if I am at all? If I am I because I'm dreaming this? Or am I only a mind perceiving this? Or is there an evil genius playing tricks on me? All that can be true, and this presentation might just be my nightmare, or I guess it could be your nightmare as well. So it was really about how do humans gain knowledge so they could determine self. Once we knew how, we could learn what we needed to know, figure out who we are. There are some basic ways humans acquire knowledge. One way to gain knowledge is in the theory of empiricism. That states that we're born without any knowledge whatsoever. Our mind is a tabula rasa or blank slate, and we only learn from our senses, what we see, hear, feel, touch, smell. Another way, a second theory we gain knowledge, was through rationalism. Rationalism states we are born with some innate knowledge of some things, and the rest we acquire through reasoning. Although there was always Plato, who thought the mind was some separate entity from heaven that knew a lot and descended down to zap into someone's body. Anyway, going back to the theories. Descartes began a philosophical debate about self. His theory was a rationalist theory of self, that a person's existence depended on how he perceived it. He thought we consisted of a mind, a non-physical essence sort of thing, and the physical was the substance of the body. Philosophers always engaged some type of way that they had to disprove their theories. So his was radical doubt as his methodology to disprove what he was trying to prove. He ultimately decided cognito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. We had Locke, an empiricist who continued the debate a little differently. He determined that we had primary and secondary qualities. The mind can only contemplate the primary qualities. Then we produce a sort of template, like an apple is red and round. So when you see red and round, you think apple. Since we are all born a blank slate, this was the only way we could acquire knowledge and hence determine what was our self. You're probably wondering why you are only hearing my voice in this presentation. Well, you haven't seen me, so you cannot perceive who I am, but you can hear me and maybe determine what could be a perception of me. Do I sound young, old, although that's not the best one to guess, male, female, and so on? Does this look like someone you might perceive as me? Now back to our presentation. All philosophers used God as some part of their theory of self to determine knowledge source. So we could know what it is to be self. Descartes recognizes our innate knowledge and uses the relational aspects of our world. So somehow he has to explain these. So they are because of a God. God inscribed innate knowledge on our brains and created the world. If we all acquire knowledge to determine who our individual self is, the same way, why are some individuals greater achievers? Sigmund Freud proposed that we have three inner mental processes that influence what we do as a result of what we know. He states that we have three main aspects: the id, pleasure-oriented, the ego, which is a kind of a balance between the id and the superego, and last, the superego, which is conscious-driven, which may influence how we perceived ourselves and how we acted accordingly. Berkeley was an empiricist who believed that ideas are only as perceptions in the minds, collections of sense data, not something substantive. Something cannot exist until it is perceived. The hitch to that was if no one was in the forest to hear the tree fall. So he brought God into it by determining that God will hear it fall. So, esta es percipi, meaning I perceive, so it exists. Oh, I almost forgot. Have you determined who I am yet from your perception and gathering of all your sense data? Could I be either of these two? So just like the philosophers, the idea of self, you must be perceived. Perception Now, if you do not know who I am, you cannot know if I am, nor can you see me, because you have no sense data to perceive of me as me. That's why the pictures, were they me? Did they sound like me? Could you decide if they were? But now here I am. Ese es percepe. Thank you for your time.